Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves what should be a good one here today, as it's going to be one of the top bots, Eris. And Eris will be taking on the new bot. Well, not new bot, but sort of newer bot, I suppose. Aeolus, as I recently, just actually the last cast a game of it. It looked pretty good, maybe not completely refined, but I literally said during that cast, I wonder how it would do against a bot like Eris, and so we are going to find out whether this Protoss bot can pass the test or not. And so, ladies and gentlemen, before we get too far into this one, make sure to go ahead, click that like button if you haven't already. You guys are the best. You always blow it out of the water, so let's just be bold on this one. If we can hit 100 likes, it might take us years, but if we can get 100 likes on this video, that would be amazing. Leave a comment down below saying more bots. You can also give audio feedback. I have just upped the game sound a little bit. Of course, it's a little bit different because I'm talking over the game sound while I cast, so I don't quite hear it as much, but yeah, I appreciate your guys' feedback on the videos. Subscribe if you haven't already. And then, yeah, if you do want to support the channel, check out the YouTube membership program. It's just that join button by the description there. And yes, let's get on with it. Notably, we've got Aeolus going for a 1 base play, and that is something that is different from the previous match that I cast, which definitely makes sense, as it uses Q learning to decide its strategies, so presumably it's got multiple builds, and it is actually a publicly available bot. So you could, in theory, just poke around and probably find out how many builds it does have. Yes. And then, yeah, we've got a couple stalkers on the way for Aeolus, going to be finding an overlord of Eris. If it kills that off, that would be a very nice start. And the Protoss bot will need every advantage it can get, so picking that overlord off would be really, really nice. Don't ignore it. Get it. Oh, it's not actually going to get it. So Eris, upon seeing these two stalkers, does say Eris versus mass stalker. Now, I really have no idea how much mass stalker this is going to be, as there is a nexus on the way behind this. So it's not like this is a 1 base, 4 gate, anything like that. So we'll see whether Aeolus is going to really put on the pressure or not. Now, 2 stalkers are just walking in, actually, very, very bold by Aeolus, just denying a lot of mining time from Eris. So this is a very, very bizarre move. This is like what 2 adepts would do, but instead of adepts, it's stalkers, which is a very interesting approach if you think about it, because some bots may have specific programming against adepts, and so they might actually be a little bit more afraid of stalkers than adepts, which it's kind of like a commit or die situation when it comes to dealing with them, with the workers. So Eris's drones have just been running around. 1 stalker did go down, but 3 drones perished, and also a queen. So what a start from the Protoss bot. Then we have a very greedy 3rd base going on up from Aeolus, which, yeah, is really quite bizarre. Now, unfortunately for the stalker, it may go down. It potentially can kill this Ling. We'll see. This is going to be a close one. It does drive that Ling away, so good combat simulator on Eris, as I think it would have actually lost that, but then the Ling just runs south and does end up dying. Now a queen at that 3rd base is in trouble, as Eris is trying to squeeze out some drones, but now it's going to lose some more as the stalkers go back in once more from Aeolus. Eris is a bot that seems to very rarely have holes in its early game. Like, it's pretty good at reacting preemptively to any sort of aggression coming its way, but it maybe isn't prepared for a few stalkers getting this aggressive. Tons of mining time is being lost. The Protoss is following this up with a very, very quick 3rd base, a nice bit of Ling harassment. The probe wants to fight, or thinks it can fight for a second, and then starts to run and, well, probably dies. So good harassment there from that Ling, but at the same time, this stalker is still denying mining time. And drones are attacking that stalker, so that's good to see. The third base is having some mining be denied. There is burrow now, so drones can save themselves with that. Unfortunately, another queen goes down for Eris. There's only one ling out presently, so Eris really has been cutting the units in this and is just squeezing out drones right now, whereas it's like, you need some units here, Eris. What's going on? As the Zerg bot is just droning way too hard. Its urge to macro is too strong. This one ling, we'll see if it actually gets the stalker. And the queen comes in to try to finish the job, but it turns around, interestingly enough. So I really do hope we see Eris start to build some more Zerglings here, as it is in a bit of trouble now. As that third base, it's still being harassed by this one Zergling, so this ling is a menace with 5 kills, which does sort of show that Aeolus is not a perfect bot with getting essentially, or having its third be ransacked by one Zergling, but we'll see if that gets dealt with or not. Aeolus is just shooting at these drones as they burrow and unburrow. Eris has a new hatchery on the way. We are seeing some more lings get added in, so Eris is up to 17, but it does need more. The drones are going to have a hard time getting towards that new hatchery as the stalkers are stepping on creep. Notably, no detection from Aeolus, though. Picking off the drones before they can burrow, though, is quite nice. Lings move forward to get a wraparound on these stalkers, but there's just not enough lings for Eris presently, so the Zerg bot is producing 14 lings, which is definitely a good number. However, now the stalkers do have +1, and Aeolus is coming on in with all of these stalkers, and the lings are just trickling out, so this is not good for Eris. A Hydra Den's on the way. Yeah, just Aeolus's early aggression put it in a very good spot, and now Eris is actually in quite a bit of trouble. This third base seems to be mining. I guess the probes do zap the ling once in a while, so it does get driven away. That ling is at 10 kills, which is very impressive, but at the same time, Eris loses its natural, so the red Zerg is potentially going to die here to all these stalkers. There's more lings being produced, but drones are running around frantically. Burrowed units still can't be killed as there's no detection from Aeolus, but that doesn't really matter as these stalkers are now breaching the main base, killing off overlords, forcing these drones to burrow. As Eris will be losing its main, it seems, then that other base isn't mining at all. There's 43 drones alive, but most of them are planted in the ground like potatoes. Those ones want to unburrow, but then a few stalkers force them to burrow again. So while burrow's good, it's not some game-winning cheat code to burrow your drones when danger is nearby, as, well, they'll just stay burrowed as long as there's stalkers on top of them. Aeolus really just needs to find this last base and Eris will be dead, as these drones, they just can't get out of there. More stalkers are constantly crossing the map. The Protoss will kill off this lair. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I think we do have a victory from the blue Protoss in this one. Really well done. I think it probably just won because of that early stalker move in, really messed with Eris's economy. Now some of these drones are unburrowing as the stalkers are still nearby. Some drones trying to transfer, but there's still too much of a threat to them. Eris is not mining at all, and unless Aeolus walks off with these stalkers and these drones can transfer to a new base, then things will not look any better. It's kind of funny. The far drones are unburrowing, so they're like, ah, it's safe. And then the stalkers walk away, and then then things are not as safe. The last hatch of Eris will go down, and so we are going to have a multi-part video for this one, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah, just one moment as I load into that. All right, and here is another one, ladies and gentlemen. It will be Xena. A lot of people's favorite bots, the random master of chaos, going to be taking on Phobos. Phobos, a bot that has been getting some development put into it, so it will be interesting to see how it handles cheese. When you think of Phobos, it's not really a bot that you think of as far as like playing long macro and having really good cheese defense. So it might, yeah, who knows though, maybe it's got some work put into it to counter something like this. That is the probable cheese coming out of Xena. Xena does have macro built into all its races, I believe, but generally it is cheese that it favors. Now, let's see here, as we do have an SCV going out to scout for Phobos. We'll see if it says anything in chat, as it will be going up against just a triple gateway opening inside the main base of Xena, so probably going to just be zealots running across the map. If I had to take a guess, that's not the most advanced cheese, but who knows, as looks like we may have a cybercore on the way to make this be actually stalkers, not just zealots. And then we do get a couple of assimilators, Phobos scouting to identify that it is up against a Protoss, seeing that there is indeed 3 gateways on the way up. But the defense will be the question. I really hope that Phobos doesn't throw up a command center here, otherwise it will be in trouble. We do have a bunker on the high ground though, which I am a big fan of, and then a factory prior to anything else, so that is the potential makings of a good defense, as Xena will be going for this proxy pylon and probably another gateway to boot, so it will just be a classic 4-gate. 4 gates from bots are even scarier than 4 gates from humans, as the speed mining means they hit even faster and harder than a human can really do it. And so that is just something that is quite terrifying if you think about it. A couple stalkers are on the way now for Xena. 3 already at the 2.5 minute mark, not even 2 minutes and 20 seconds. 3 stalkers being produced is just ridiculous how much that these bots can get up in the early game. Phobos does go for a command center on the low ground, so that's not good. I like the bunker on the high ground. I like the factory, but I'd have been much more happy if we had had no CC or a command center built on the high ground and just floated down later, which is an option that Terran can make use of and the other races cannot. So, Phobos producing just 1 Marine at a time. There is a factory done, so we may get a tank in a little bit. It depends whether more gas will be spent on something out of the starport, but a tank could save Phobos's bacon. We shall see, as there's almost enough gas to start one of those up. Of course, an SCV pull to repair the bunker could be important. And what do we have? We do indeed have a siege tank being produced for Phobos, so I'm a big fan of that. Xena is moving in, very nicely timed. I believe this will hit before that command center is done. It's going to be so close to this command center finishing up, but that's all it takes is just 1 volley to kill this SCV, and I think we're gonna have that. The SCV dies. The Marines, or a few Marines, come down the ramp, but this bunker really is the important thing that needs to be defended. This command center will probably have to be canceled for Phobos. The tank is almost out. The depot gets raised as Xena does go up the ramp. The tank, though, is going to be the prime target, and it does indeed perish as Xena just rushes up the ramp, eating tons of shots from this bunker, but at the same time, the stalkers are slaughtering SCVs. There is no more repair going down on the bunkers. The SCVs were afraid of the stalkers, leaving the Marines to their death, and it does look like Xena will get a very quick and dirty win with this one, as the Protoss bot has breached the main base of its opponent. We have a random forge on the way for Xena, maybe just because it had a mineral surplus or something. And yeah, I think it is just an unfortunate death for Phobos. That bunker was relatively safe. The tank was relatively safe, but probably having this space in the wall is what hurt it. I mean, if those stalkers had to actually break through that depot wall, that could have potentially saved Phobos. The tank wouldn't have been pounced on, potentially. But anyway, it just goes to show that even great bots like Phobos do fall to cheese. That's what makes Xena very impressive. It cheeses out the best bots, even though it's been some time since Xena's got an update, too. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, a bit of a shorter one here today, but if you did enjoy it, click that like button if you haven't already. Oh, the command center did get completed. That's just tragic. Yeah, click that like button, leave a comment down below saying more bots, subscribe to the channel. You can also join the Discord, which is linked down below. I announce tournaments, that kind of thing in the Discord. And yeah, we'll just let this run a little bit here. Xena does throw up a nexus behind its cheese, which is one of the very cool things. It doesn't just basically hope to win off one base. It does have some redundancy as far as macro goes.